I am Dr. Balasubramanian. Now I am going to show how to use the properties window to change the properties of the text frame as well as the image frame. Now we have created a blank canvas in Scribus. Now I am going to insert first a image frame. This is the image frame. I am going to insert a image inside this image frame. The image has been inserted. Now this image is too big to be within the frame. Now let us see how we can adjust going to the properties window. So now the properties window, I am going to the image. The image, you can scale the image. So now you can scale the image. So we will, since we will link the both the X and the Y scale, and then by checking the scale to frame size, this image gets scaled to the frame size. And since we check the proportion, if you check the proportion, what happens? It just maintains the vertical and horizontal proportion as per the original image. If I am unchecking it, what happens is the image increases its vertical height to fit the frame. So let me show you. If I am going to check the proportion, it just shrinks. Now see, it expands. So now if you want to freescale, so I want to freescale the image. How I'm going to go? So I'm going to change the X and the Y scale. So if I'm going to change, so this is one way of doing it. You link both these X and Y scale, keep reducing it. So you see it gets magnified. Magnification of the image increases. You can always resize the image if you want. And then when you reduce, the actual DPI indicates the magnification level. So now as I reduce, the DPI of the image also reduces. As I increase, the DPI of the image also increases. This is actually the value of the print value, pixel per inches. So what happens when you want to print an image? The higher this value, better will be the quality. The easiest way to do is just select scale to frame, and it will expand and fit to the frame size. And then if you click proportion, the proportion of the original image won't be changed. And then you can add effects to the image. Say for example, you can add a blur and see what happens. See, the image gets blurred. Then let us add duotone, see what happens. So it becomes darker, white and black. Then we will give out a contrast and see what happens to the image. So the image takes up a contrast and brightness. The image becomes brighter, so that you can use various image effects to edit these images. This is as far as the image frame and editing an image goes. So to recap, if you are going to alter the X position, let us see what happens. You see the image moving towards the right side of the frame. So I want to, if I reduce the X pos value, it just moves to the left. What happens if I increase the Y pos value? When I increase, what happens? It moves towards the lower portion of the frame. And then if I reduce, it moves towards the upper portion of the frame. I repeat again, if I am going to alter the X pos value, it moves to the, if I increase, it moves to the right. If I decrease, it moves to the left. Y pos value, if I decrease, it moves upwards. When I increase, it moves downwards. So this is X pos value and Y pos value. Scaling the image is to scale the magnification of the image. You can unlink. So supposing you want to do only scale up only in the one axis, just click this button, it will unlink, so that you will scale only the horizontal. If you want to scale vertically, you just do this. So ultimately these two, actual DPI and scaling, are more or less related to one another. When you increase the scaling, your x and y axis of the DPI also increases correspondingly. Now you can add a line to the image by clicking here, and then we will add a green line. See what happens, we have added a green square to the image frame. Then you can also change the thing into, say, dark blue to make it more visible. See what happened, we have added a frame, colored frame to the image. Then if you want to fill this frame with a color, you just click this box and then click this color. What happens, box shading is filled. Or let's make it white. And now you want to reduce the shading, you can reduce the shading also, like reducing the shade. And then opacity, you can reduce the opacity of the image by reducing the opacity value to 50 or 60%, like this. If you want to use a overprint feature or a knockout feature, you can choose it. Knockout is nothing but when you are using when you feel that the image is outside the confines of the frame, it gets knocked out when you print. So that is the reason why we are enable the knockout setting. Supposing you want to the color palette to display only the used color, it will display only the used color. If I uncheck it, it will show all the colors possible. And then shape, you can add a shape to this, you can edit this shape, and you can round the corner of this image frame by increasing this value. Let us see what happens. See, I have rounded the corners, so the image frame is having a better look. So we can always change the shape of the image frame by rounding the corner. Then you can edit and move this image, say create a handle, move it like this, move it like this, and these handles you can move it any way you want. You can change all these things to ensure that the image is more or less to your satisfaction. You can make it into a default shape. You can say let me say something like a heart. See, beautifully the image has been fitted into this heart shaped base. Now I'm going to resize this image, make it smaller, and hold it somewhere. I will adjust image to frame and keep it here for further use. Now let me introduce a text frame here. So I have introduced a text frame. I am going to import text from my notepad. So I am importing, text has already been imported. So now you can go to the properties as far as the text is concerned. Now let us see, text is the we have got a text frame, imported text into the text frame. Now I'm going to move this image frame over the text frame. So now what has happened is this image frame is hiding the text frame. Now how to make this text flow around this image? So for that to happen, you go to select the image, go to shape and use the frame shape. For this to happen, your text should be raised. Now I'm going to show the shape. I will say level, lower the level. So now what has happened is your text is freely flowing away from the image frame. So let me use the frame increase. So our text is not hiding the frame. Now let me use the bounding box. So what happens if I use the bounding frame shape? Some of the text gets into the shape here, or you can choose the bounding block, or you can use a contour line. So you can use a contour line. It will flow along the contour of this heart. Use a frame shape, or you can use a bounding box. Bounding box looks better. So wherever you move this image, your text will freely flow around this image. So this is one of the important aspects you can implement when you are using text frame as well as a image frame within the same canvas. And now what else you can do with the text frame? You can change the color of the text. For example, I will want to change the color to cyan. The entire thing becomes blue. So I want to add a gradient tool. So I will add a green gradient. So here I can play around with the gradient so that the page color also changes. If I want to add another color here, I click here, I get a plus, I add a red. So now I get a red here. I can change the color. So now by adding this gradient, you can do it. Then if you want a vertical gradient, if you want a diagonal gradient, you can use a diagonal gradient and play around with the colors. See which one looks pleasing. So this is how you get multicolored brochures printed. See how great it looks. This is how you play around with the gradient. So there are various types of gradients are available. You can free linear gradient is also possible. You can just move, see what happens to it. See, horizontally you click it. I have created I want to add another color to it. Let us make it black. See what has happened, and you get another shade. So keep playing with this gradient tool so that you will know how to implement the color format to your pages. And next, text you can change the color of the text from the default black to you can change it into blue. See what it has taken blue color, or you can make it white. So now the letters have become white. So you can change the font here, you can make it bold, you can align these letters to the baseline grid, and then you can increase the size of the font by clicking. And then if you want to, if you have already created a style, you can ensure that you can choose the downward arrow, that style will be listed. You can always use the style, implement the style within the box. So these are some of the important aspects you can control within using the properties window. So now if you go to the properties window, so if you create the text box, it gives you the name of the text box. The selected text box is text box number 2. Supposing you want to assign a unique name for it, so that when you are creating an index, you can always give a unique name for it. And then this size of the box can be adjusted. Say I'm going to, if I increase the X position, it just moves to my right, and then if you bring it down, it moves towards the left. Y position vertical, so it is getting compressed vertically. Now I'm increasing, you see the box shifting upwards. And then width, again I'm linking. If you click here, the aspect ratio will be maintained, width and the height will be proportionately increased. So I can, if I want to rotate, I can always rotate the text box by clicking here, there, and then I can change the level. So supposing I want the text to be above the level of the image frame, I just got to increase it. The image frame gets hidden. Now I decrease it, the image frame gets revealed. So I can move to the front, I can push it down. So now I want to move the text to the front. What has happened? It is hidden. Now I will move to the below, and now here I can lock the object. I can lock the text. I can flip the text horizontally. See what has happened? It is flipped horizontally. See, and then I want to flip vertically. See, flip vertically. I can, if I lock, use this, I can lock the document, nothing can be done. I can unlock if I want, and I can always unlock. Now the shape, here again what we can do is I can round the text box also by clicking the rounded corners. Create another text box and then go to the shape. So I can, by clicking the corners here, you see my text box is beautifully rounded. So you can change the edges of the text box, you can change the edges of the uh, image frame, and then similarly you can change the text box shape also. You can go ahead and give out it, make it oval. See, the text box becomes oval, still you can type the text. So now you can convert the shape into, supposing you want, you can change the shape into, going to the shape, you can change the shape into a jigsaw, or you can say there are some special shapes, you can make it into a smiley. So all these things are possible. Then there's something called line. Supposing you want to insert a line, so I have inserted a line here. So the type of the line, you can change the type of the line to slash hatches. It has changed. Now I select, I go to line, so I can make it, change it into dots. See, it has become dots. I will select the line, go to line. I can increase the width of the line, and then I can add a start arrow to it. Say for example, I'll add a start arrow, and then I want to add another arrow, end arrow. See what has happened? It has got a start arrow, it has got an end arrow. So that this is how you play around with the lines, and then you can bevel join. You can use a flat cap or a square cap. Then you can add colors also. For example, I will make the line green, I can make it red, I can make it white, I can make it black, I can make it yellow. I've made it blue. Now I'll give it a gradient value. So these are the ways in which you can manipulate the lines, images and text within a text box. Thank you.